what about RRSPs that do a matching program? And so what he's talking about here is if you work for a company, you likely have access to, especially if it's a big company, you likely have access to an RRSP where there's some sort of matching involved. From what I've seen, you can usually contribute anywhere from 5 to 8% of your income, sometimes up to 10, right? And then by doing this, the company says that they will match it to a certain extent. Some companies do 100% matching, 50% matching, whatever the case may be. Now, the brother in this question said, is this halal, number one? And number two, he feels that this is akin to interest, right? Because you're putting in a certain amount and the company is guaranteeing to give you an additional amount. So wouldn't this fall in line with interest? And what a lot of the scholars have said is that it is halal to participate in company RRSPs in theory, as long as what they're putting your money into is halal. They look at the concept of the company matching program as a gift, right? The company is gifting you this money because of the hard work that you do for the company, because of the value that you create for the company. And so this is their way of adding to your best interest, right? And gifts, of course, in Islam, no matter who they're from, are halal. So most scholars would say that this does not meet the criteria to be considered riba, to be considered interest, to be considered haram in any form. However, when it comes to the group RRSP from your company, you need to make sure that there is halal options for you to put that money into, right? So in a lot of cases, you put it into an account. At the very least, it's generating interest. And worst case scenario, you might be generating like profit from weapons and drugs and alcohol and banks and all these haram things. So what I would suggest is look into some halal alternatives, some halal options that could exist within your from your employer, right? If you have Canada Life or Manulife, there are halal portfolio options available through them through their group benefits plan. So, talk to your HR person, see if they have anything available for you that you can look into. And of course, if they kind of ignore you, maybe there are other Muslims at the company that you guys can go together and make this a request. Another request that people have made, and of course this isn't ideal, but it's better to receive that money than not, is contribute to this and see if there's any way that you can have all this money taken care of just sitting in cash. Now, something that often comes up is, I contributed to this group RSP and I wasn't aware that the money was invested or that it was haram or that it was any of these other type of things. So what should I do in that case? Great question. And this is something that, a lot of people do, right? They've contributed to it, didn't really pay too much close attention. Now they've got some money there. Maybe they keep working at their job. Maybe they've left their job, right? Or maybe they're at a new job. And what happens is they didn't really pay too much attention, but now they're kind of like, okay, halal finance, investing, all these things. What do you do? So the ruling is that up until this point, right, where you were unaware, you can keep what is past. That's what generally most scholars say, you can keep what is past, right? And this comes from, chapter 2, verse 275, where they're basically talking about how, paraphrasing of course, how you can keep what is past, but if you persist, then you are a companion of the fire, right? So you got to look at that if you weren't aware, if you were invested in something that you shouldn't, you can keep all of the past games, but from the point you become aware onward, you should stop, right? So maybe you can transfer this to a halal institution like Menzel Wealth or somewhere else. Maybe you can look into potentially changing up the investment model to make sure that it's halal. Maybe you have options within your group benefits plan that are in fact halal, but they aren't advertised as such, right? So we found a few situations where people's group benefits plan, it contained a fund that's solely based on science like technology. You look through the companies in there and they turn out to be halal, right? Or they have a gold and silver fund option or something like this, right? So there's a lot of different things that we could potentially do. What I would say to you guys is try not to leave this money on the table if you have a halal way, right? So talk to the HR people maybe about having it where it sits in cash, it doesn't get invested, it doesn't generate interest. Talk to them about having a potential halal option available. And if none of that is an option, you look for potentially the least bad option. We can help you with that. You can book a meeting at the link below, and we can look through all your portfolio options and tell you which is the least harmful, right? And if there are no good options, then unfortunately what I would just say is, better to be safe than sorry. So inshallah, I hope this answers your question. Jazakallah khair. And if you guys have any other Islamic finance related questions, put them in the comments because I love to answer them. I want to help you guys. And that's pretty much it. We'll see you next time. Thanks for stopping by. And if you wouldn't mind hitting the like and subscribe button, helps the YouTube algorithm, helps grow the channel.